Okay, everybody. So now that we've gotten a little bit of a chance to find out who's in the room, why don't we find out what we're going to be actually learning over the next couple of days together.
Yes.
So let's take a look at just page 1, if you turn in your workbook, and take a look at, what do you have here, 6 or 7 possible outcomes from our work together. I'd like you to take a look at what you think would be of most interest to you at this time. And you can see, the importance of defining your customer base. Who are your customers really? The importance of, and the critical role that you play in a service interaction and the outcomes, and what control you may have that you may not even realize. And we're going to talk a bit about magic. What is this magic thing? Magic versus tragic. So we'll get more into that language. I'd like to ask you, when I say the word mindset, because we really are talking about a magic mindset. That is what this couple of days is. What comes to mind for you when I say mindset?
How we think about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How we approach something.
How we approach something.
How we look at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's, Vernell, do you have a thought about, or it's just you got a thought about mindset?
No.
You know what? You ever walk around the street and you see people wearing certain types of t-shirts and they have a message on them? And look at that a lot of people walk around with that thing that says life is good. And that's a brand, right? So, but usually the people that choose to wear those, they at least want to have that mindset that life is good. Other people walk around with other t-shirts on that say other things, like life sucks, right? That's another mindset that we can adopt. But I think we're talking probably more around the life is good. We're erring on that side. That might say a little bit more about what magic is. But it is a kind of frame of reference. It's sort of the filter through which we begin to see our experiences. And I think that's a little bit of what we're going to do here is give you a bit of a filter and for the magic mindset. I'm going to give you an experience of something, and we're going to listen to a recording of a customer service person having an interaction, and it's in a dry cleaning setting. And what I'd like you to do is you're going to be rating the level of service, just from your filter, from your experience, 1 to 10. 10 is really excellent. 1 is really pretty rotten. I'd also like for you to listen to the customer reaction, the customer's experience. So maybe listen at 2 levels. Your experience of the service, and then the customer's reaction. All right? Mm-hmm. So here we go. Cut. Do. All right?
Okay.
So what did you notice, first of all?
Well, she didn't even try to help him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was so concerned about rules.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Did you, and how did you, where did you hear that? And what kind of thing that she said or did?
Well, the whole thing, I can't leave the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I can't leave my desk. I can't even go get help.
Right, exactly.
So.
Yes, you got it. And how about you, Brenna? What did you notice?
She didn't offer any other alternatives. She didn't give them options.
Right. And in your mind, if she were really great, she'd be giving maybe more options, yes?
Yes, we'll try to work with them.
Yeah, great. So what did you rate her service?
3.
A 3. Thank you.
1.
2.
A 1.
2.
And a 2. Okay. And because it just, for you, did not meet a standard, because that's falling even well below 5, so it did not meet a standard. Am I assuming that's correct?
Yeah, I probably just gave her a couple points because she wasn't down and out. She didn't hang up on him. She
Okay.
wasn't completely rude. but it was close.
She had a pulse.
She had
Okay.
a pulse,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
Uh,
At least we think so.
yeah.
So you gave her a 1 because?
And she was just flat and rude.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No.
And how about you, Wally? What was the reason for your 2?
Well, he was doing all the work. She did no work at all. He
Mhm.
was doing all the work to try to figure out how to solve the problem. She did nothing.
Okay,
She
great.
didn't care.
Great. Okay, good. So just start to notice how what you're noticing, okay, about the customer interaction. And that's interesting in and of itself. So start to notice what we experience as a positive customer interaction and what we experience as a negative interaction in terms of how we want to be treated. And so this is some of how that's your mindset, that's your filter, that's how you're hearing things right now. Let's talk about this even more specifically. What did you know? Is this the one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm asking the participant.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, please, would you? Okay, good. Tell me, am I doing it right? So in terms of choices, like this person had, so actually I'm curious about what you noticed in terms of what she said, what her tone was, what action she took. All right? Let's break this down a little bit and let's find out why you gave her the rating that you gave her. So what was her tone?
Monotone. I wrote down defensive
Mhm.
too.
Defensive?
Mhm.
Okay. What gave you that sense that she was being defensive?
Well, she just kept, basically, it's not, everything wasn't her fault. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't help him, but it wasn't her fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she kept passing it off. Okay. So he'd bring something up to her and she'd just push it away as though, and she wouldn't take responsibility for it. Is that what you?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And how about tone? Anything else? Vanille? You said before she was flat?
She was flat.
Mm-hmm.
She, in her voice, she didn't sound like she was concerned about him at all,
Mm-hmm.
or his needs.
What communicated that to you?
And she was like, we're 60 minutes, not 40 minutes.
Ooh, notice her tone when she says that. Is that how she said it, or that's how you took it?
In spite of the
Yeah,
fact that he
that's
must
how I
have
took
dropped it off earlier in the day, right?
Right.
So-
And he dropped it off earlier, and he's offering solutions, and she's just nonchalant about the whole
Mhm.
ordeal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You
So she did not communicate care.
know. No.
So sort of uncaring. So her tone felt uncaring to you. Is that what I hear?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Words. What other words did she use that gave you the sense that she was uncaring or that she was defensive or
She used the word yup.
yup?
Hmm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Huh.
As in Y-U-P?
Yes.
That could go on a t-shirt.
She used I can't a lot, and I'm not allowed a lot. She used those repeatedly.
I'm
I
not
can't,
allowed.
and I'm not allowed.
Uh-huh, and I can't. Okay, good. And I'm not allowed. Okay. So, that's interesting. So I'm not allowed. And what does that communicate to you? I'm not allowed.
And then she could have, even though she more than likely wasn't allowed to go do something, she could have offered a resolution. She could have went, instead of saying not allowed, she
Mhm.
could have been, well, let me check, or she
Uh-huh.
could have used other words
Right.
instead of saying that she was not allowed.
Right. Like, I'm not allowed. It just kind of
About
puts a stop
policy
to
and
it, right?
procedures.
It's like, where does the
Right.
customer go from there? Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that goes back to she just making excuses. Kind of, for me, that was just an excuse for not helping.
Okay. Okay, good. So that's words. So it was kind of excuses here. I'm gonna put that under actions. It was like she was making excuses.
Mhm.
Any other actions she took or didn't take that for you were?
Well, she refused, and this is what you were saying, Vernell. She refused to follow through on any of his suggestions. So the refusal to me is an action.
Yeah, it's like, bad idea, guy. Right, exactly. So refused, okay. She actually refused to use his ideas. Thank you. All right, good. And how about attitude? Let's go over there for a moment. What did you experience from her attitude? Now we're totally focused on the employee and the customer service provider, or the non-customer service provider.
As if she didn't want to be at work.
Yeah, she didn't like her job.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down closed-minded and disengaged
Okay.
attitudes of, disengaged attitude, closed-minded attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I experienced that from somebody on the other side, I think, well, then why would I want to be here involved in this organization if they're communicating disengagement to me? There must be something happening in the organization I don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're that point of contact, aren't they? So disengaged, communicating that she dislikes the job. That's great. So can you start to see that the choices that we make influence the customer experience greatly?
Sure.
And so let's think for a moment on the other side, what was his experience? What was his experience that he was having?
Well, he was frustrated.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I thought he had a lot of anxiety because you are, whatever you want to call it, because he had this date, this event that he had to go to, and if it wasn't going to be done, it was going to put him in difficult situations. So I think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you experienced him. What did you hear? Did you experience frustration? How did you experience anxiety? What did you hear in him?
Because he kept repeating, but I have to have it.
Uh-huh.
But I have to have it.
Right.
And then when it appeared that she wasn't going to help him, he sounded really he got to where he sounded disgusted. Well, isn't there somebody else there who can help me? Kind of thing, So.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that people repeat things when they don't feel heard. They'll keep, like a broken record, just keep saying the same thing until they get that the message is received. And in this case, it sounds like the message generally was not received. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Vernell, that you noticed, or Wally?
No.
So again, the choices that we make in terms of how to engage with people and what kind of experience we generate on the other side of the interaction. So there's the customer service experience, and so there's the interaction, and then it's the response or the customer's reaction to the interaction. And think about what we're looking for. We're looking for what? As customer service providers ourselves, we're looking to create the most what? Reaction on the other side.
Positive.
Yeah.
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 We want to make it a pleasant experience.
Yeah. So that what?
So they come back.
Exactly. And if they come back, then what else? What else happens?
We make money.
Thank you. Exactly. They come back and they come back and they come back. Good. And hopefully we have a little fun while we do it, and we exchange value. We give value, we receive value. And so you can start to see that this woman, who she was and what she was communicating from herself, created his whole experience. So, did she communicate empathy?
No.
No, not really at all. And so what do you think his perception was that he left with?
He's never coming back.
Well, likely, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've got some really clear numbers on what happens, and when people experience themselves not really cared for in the interaction. But perception is, as they say, what? Reality, right? And he probably left with a pretty poor perception. And so if that's the case, it probably doesn't just stop with him. It probably likely goes out from there, has a ripple effect. Good. So let's think about what kind of experience this woman could use, like if she were in a magic training, what she might actually come out experiencing. And let me see. Is it? Yes. I'm going to give you a quote that begins to set up a little bit more about the magic mindset. I will pay more for the ability to deal with people than for any other ability under the sun. This is by John D. Rockefeller, a pretty big wig guy in American history and a big businessman. I will pay more for the ability to deal with people than for any other ability under the sun. What does that say to you all? Is that surprising or?
No, I think he's saying that when he says I will pay more for the ability to deal with people, I think he's saying that in terms of people that he would hire, that those are the people that he values the most, because if they know how to deal with people, then they're able to enhance whatever the needs of the business are, no matter what department they're in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so he clearly sees the value translated to business. Yeah. How about you, Vernell? Do you see anything in there? What does it speak to you?
That you will want to understand people more, help you communicate with people if you're able to understand them more, deal with different types of people.
Yeah, that's great. Usually when I'm in a room of a lot of managers and I'll ask them a question, would you rather deal with a technical issue or a relationship issue? A task issue or a people issue?
They're all like,
What do
task,
thank you. Hands go up. How many for task? It's really kind of amazing. And yeah, so very, very few of the people, and mostly it happens to be women, which is interesting, in the room that say, yeah, not as much of a problem to deal with the relationship issues. I found that to be pretty interesting too. But here he is saying this is one of the most important things, and that's what the magic mindset is about. It is about the quality of the ability to deal with people and also to be able to build relationships. And if you think about it, we have, so, and I think this comes next, correct me if I'm wrong, but, the ability to deal with people. What are some of the qualities that allow us to deal effectively with people, if you didn't actually see them written up there? If you had to guess.
I think it's an ability to show empathy. I think that's really important. To listen. You have to be able to listen.
Good. And empathy, yeah, we did talk a little bit about empathy. Yeah, we're talking about that right now. So, and ability to listen. Good. We can certainly go into detail about that. I mean, you ever say something to your teenager and, are you listening? Yeah, I'm listening, right? So there's listening and then there's listening. And so, I'll ask the question, listening, what kind of listening is actually really demonstrates the ability to deal with people effectively? What kind of
I
listening?
think people that know how to deal with other people effectively are focused on the other person's needs and not their own.
Great.
And I'm kind of thinking, because this is
Nice.
about listening, because I know I have a problem with that. Because I'm already thinking in my head about how I'm going to reply before they're done talking. I do that all the time.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
Exactly. Yeah, what'd you say? I was thinking about this.
Yes, so the ability to listen almost from where the person is speaking.
Right, so focusing on them rather than yourself is that type of
Okay.
listening.
Yeah, nice. Thank you very much. Okay. What else? The ability to deal with people. What are some other qualities that allow us to do this well?
Patience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Why do we need patience?
So we deal with difficult people.
Yeah. Anybody else here ever deal with difficult people on a daily basis? I know I do. Yes, exactly. Okay, so patience, because you know what? Not everybody necessarily goes about life the same way we do. Would you say that's true? Yeah.
Right.
And basically, that is part of what requires patience, because we see somebody doing something in a different way or responding in a different way, and we think, oh, my goodness. And that requires us to just kind of back down and give them the space and try to understand. That's when the deep listening starts to come in. We need to find out what's really happening for them. Okay, go ahead. What else?
Well, we have making connection. I think that that also they care. I don't know if it's the ability. It's at least a desire to build a relationship or make a connection.
Okay. You know, we're human beings in interaction with other human beings, and we sometimes forget that. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in situations and I feel sort of shut along, like I'm just part of a transaction, I tend to be more like this guy and have that pretty lousy customer experience. And this is very much about us being able to provide the quality human experience consistently over time and trying to understand what are the ingredients that go into that. And Magic has been able to break that down into actually 33 different points. And right now we're really teasing this out. And so making a connection is also just a really vital part of that. Okay, great. And you might also say some of the other things that are here, the understanding and communicating effectively and things like that. Do you ever notice that, I want you to think for yourselves right now, situations in which this is easy for you to access these qualities on a daily basis when you are, certain types of people you're on the phone with or interact with or your colleagues that you enjoy. And this happens sort of naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want you to think of somebody that's, challenges your what? Your patience. And see how easy it is to engage all of these, to keep making the connection, to keep coming around and listening and communicating effectively, even if you don't feel like they're really hearing you, and for you to keep communicating understanding. So this is, we don't need the magic mindset when it's as easy as pie and when it's already there for us and it's completely natural. We need it, and we need to be able to practice these muscles, especially when we're most challenged around it with people that are more difficult. And so you might want to think for yourself, what is the type of person that is most difficult for you? You had mentioned earlier somebody who doesn't quite like to learn, right? They don't want to learn to see new ways of doing things.
Yeah, if someone doesn't want to learn, I guess, it depends on what I'm doing with them, but
Mhm,
that can
mhm.
be, that can
Okay.
create, a lot depends on what the purpose of our interaction is,
Mm-hmm. Right.
about whether it's a problem or not.
Right. Yes. Interesting. Okay, good. No, it's very helpful to start to recognize what are those people with whom it is most challenging for us to enact the relationship building skills. Vernell, do you have what's the most challenging type of person for you when it's hardest to enact some of these?
Someone that's loud, rude, won't let me help them. It's just barriers all around them. I can't assist them. I gotta break that wall down to even try to help them.
Okay.
Difficult.
So are they like aggressively that way,
Aggressive,
or okay?
yes.
So they're aggressively that way, not just quiet and not receiving, but actually saying no, 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 giving you lots of reasons why not.
Right.
Okay, great. Wally, do you have a? Can you hand me that?
The water?
My ex-wife,
Yeah. Give me just give us an example.
I
Type
would
of person.
say
Yeah.
the most challenging for me would be people, I would agree with Amber, people who behave like victims are, I don't have patience. I
Okay.
have very little patience with them.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you are generally a patient guy from what I know.
I am.
And so it's very helpful to start to recognize, uh-oh, bing, 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 bing. When the sirens start to go off, that's when we got to haul our magic out, out of our pockets.
When
Okay,
the
great.
victim ding goes off, look out.
Exactly. So that's really what magic is very much about. It's about the skills to build and continually build the relationships, and also for our businesses, so that we can create more business, we can create customer loyalty, and when we have that, we also have. Let's say we lose our patience for a moment, but we're still there in connection with the person. Do we have the courage to enact all of these and actually restore the relationship, even if there's a chink in it? And think about, sometimes we may end up losing those folks, those customers, but actually so many of them are retrievable. And magic really helps us with that. Would that be interesting to any of you, if we could give you some more tools to be able to restore relationships, especially when
Yes.
they're under threat? Okay, terrific. All right, I want to ask you a question. Who are your customers? Who are your customers? Please take a moment. Write that down. Who do you feel are your customers? Okay.
Okay.
Who are your customers?
Well, my customers are
And your
the,
name is Linnea? No, I'm sorry.
my customers are, the employees, because I train them. And my customers are then their customers, people who call in.
Nice, okay.
And my customers are, my boss
Mhm, mhm.
and the people that she works for.
Yeah, nice.
Because, you know, so these are the people that I'm concerned want to be happy with my product, which is my performance.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm. Okay, great, wonderful. Yeah, so you're thinking in a far-reaching way. So it's true, because a lot of people have the idea that their customer is just the person who receives the one end product, but you're thinking everybody that you have contact with, that you need to.
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking quite that far, but
Okay.
I was thinking in terms of the fact that if I train and I do a good job with my customers, the people that I'm training, then in turn their performance is improved and all the people that they come in contact with will have a positive experience.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's really great. Thank you. Who else? What are your?
Same here.
Yeah.
The employees, because I will be training them. Patients, lawyers, doctors, basically everyone I come in contact with.
Everyone you come in contact with.
Yes.
Okay. And that's also everybody that is also contributing to the end product being.
Yes.
So you all are sharing a goal. Yes.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Terrific. So if you turn the page, I'd like you to take a look here at page 6, and comparing your answer to page 5. Think about this. Every person I communicate with is my customer, and every communication makes an impression. And so just thinking about how broadly you're willing to define the word customer. And you all in here have a really nice broad definition. And it's people that you share the common and the larger goal with, and everybody that you interact with. Yes. Wally, would you do you have it? Do you have a distinction between page 5 and page 6 for yourself?
Well, no, I consider everybody my customer. I consider that anytime I open my mouth, that there's an opportunity to either increase trust or reduce it. So I see every interaction as an opportunity.
Oh, you've
Well-
obviously taken this class before.
I think I've taken it before.
Yes, I'm thinking perhaps you have an enlightened master in the room.
So don't mess with me, okay?
Oh, you just sit back there and say, oh. So, if that is in fact true, what Wally is saying, that every interaction, let's just see how we respond to what you said, every
Well,
interaction.
how does that make them a customer though?
Yeah, well,
How does
he's saying every interaction, say it one more time, every interaction that you have with anyone,
With anyone.
everywhere in your life,
Anywhere.
okay, thank you, is an opportunity to enhance trust or diminish it?
Correct.
What do you guys think of that?
well, I think that's true, but I still don't see how it makes them my customer.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no, that's a great question. Vanell, do you have
Counselor
a...
Wally, you want to answer that?
I'm sorry. I'm not. Am I facilitating
Well,
this part right here?
what if? I mean, what if we saw everyone that we interact with as a customer now or a
Uh-huh.
potential customer
Uh-huh.
in the future?
No, I can see that as a potential customer. Yeah.
An opportunity to build and enhance relationships with everybody around us, and so that they want to interact with us more frequently. We may not get a direct cash from them in the moment, right?
Mhm.
Or the next sale, but we may be sharing a larger goal that we're not really aware of. And so, when in doubt, build trust, build relationship.
Okay.
What if we started to see everybody that way and weren't just selective, like on page 5, about only treating our clients really nicely or our customers as we have them defined, but what about everyone? And when I started thinking about this, I thought, wow, you mean my children are my customers? My partner is my customer? The vendors that I depend on to deliver me service are my customers in some way? So, what if that were true? How might our experience be different on a daily basis? What quality of life are we having for ourselves and actually contributing to for others? Yeah?
I think a good example of that was what Amber was saying when you were at the restaurant last night and you called the waiter by her name.
Mm-hmm.
And
Uh-huh.
she just probably felt more pleasant and had a more pleasant demeanor and more helpful to you and everything. You treat her like she was your customer,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good example.
Well, yeah, and it's life-giving. What I heard you do, you're just adding to like where you are. How else could you have treated her?
I could've
What
just
was your other
ignored her.
option? What's
I
that?
could have just ignored her.
Yes, and treated her transactionally, like she was there for your purposes, and just to put the food down, and you could have not said thank you, and all sorts of other things.
Mm-hmm.
The way that people treat, service plenty of times.
Mhm.
And so we want to start to think in terms of what enhances, what interactions that we have enhance, and what hinders. Either if we're providing service, or even if we need something from somebody. And I want you to think about a situation in the recent past where you may have that something happened and you had an opportunity to do something. I'm trying to get away from the neighbor story, so I'm taking a long time. So, okay, I'll just tell a quick story. And so I have this neighbor, and they had this, it was fall, but actually was into winter now, and they had these bags, and they had Halloween faces on them, and it was really cute for a while through the fall, because that's where they gathered their leaves, but then they left them there, like, over the winter, and then the faces were, like, sagging and drooping, and it, like, started to trash up the neighborhood a lot, and it went on for, like, a week and two, and then, like, 2 months went by, and it was just like, yeah. And so what options did I have? What options did I have for how I could have dealt with my neighbor? Because I wanted a change.
Could've just
I wanted something
gone
to be
over and
different.
grabbed the bags and put them in.
I could have. I could have.
Term.
In which case, I could have gotten arrested for trespassing,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Okay.
You know.
Right? And so yes, I could have done that. I could have taken it in my own hands. I could have.
Or you could have kindly went over to their house and let them know that the time for the bags to be moved in a
Coulda
very
called-
nice, polite way.
Could have called the city and had them complain.
That's true.
You know,
Issue a
that's-
ticket
you could do
for
that.
sagging faces, right? So again, hindering. What hinders and what enhances experiences. And so if what our intention is to keep relationship over a long period of time, and yet we also need certain things to occur. We need certain changes to occur. So actually I had a choice, and I thought I was kind of like, I recognized in myself, I was, I want those out of there, go. And I thought about what you're saying, and then I thought about, speaking to them one day, and instead what I did was I wrote a little poem, and I put it in their mailbox. And I don't know if you want to hear it, but anyway, I actually brought
Of course.
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm curious
Yeah.
now.
So, okay, dear neighbor of mine, I wish to thank you for having a tidy lawn. And as you know, fall has come and gone. For a long time, your Halloween leaf bags were perfectly fine. Yet today they droop with a sad face, changing my drive-bys from a delight to a race, so I can pass with grace. But now I see that the effort is on me, so I ask of you, my friends, to spare us having to watch the inevitable ends, and remove the bags to spare you of further nags. So together we can once again share the true beauty of the neighborhood about which we all care. So I tell you, the bags were gone the next day.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah.
A magic poem.
It's
It's a magic poem.
Okay, so enhance or hinder? The
I bet they
relationship.
loved it.
Okay, yeah.
A neighbor with a sense of humor, right?
It's true, it's true. Let's turn to page 7, because I want to walk you through just something fairly quickly around why customers actually quit buying from suppliers. And there was a study done by the Rockefeller Corporation in Pittsburgh. They had a survey of about 450 executives. And what they found was, I'm going to give you this, and I forgot to do that quote, but we're just going to have to look about that. Why customers quit buying, and that what they realized, I'm going to give you actual numbers, but I would like you to take a peek and put down for a moment here, why is it? Is it relationship with another company or salesperson? Competitive pricing? Dissatisfaction? Attitude? Please put percentage rate adding up to 100. What you believe effective. Okay,
Amber.
thank you. I
I saw
you
it.
know, Mania, I keep thinking.
Okay, where's
oh,
my name
good,
tag? It's over here
right.
somewhere.
Yeah. You just wrote in my fortune cookie.
Sorry.
All right. Can you tell me what your numbers are?
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay, 5,
Mm-hmm.
5, 10, and 80.
And Vernell?
5, 15, 25, 50, and
50?
5.
50
Yeah.
cents? Okay.
And
Alright.
5. That's my last one.
And 5. Oh, okay, for other. Yeah, great. Did you have any other?
I didn't have
Okay, yeah. And, well, you don't matter, and so.
so nice.
Okay.
Unmagical.
That was magic.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Here is, so, okay, imagine that I just put the
Yeah.
average. Basically, you can see the run and what we're looking at here. The actual numbers are this. We have 4% only that they had another relationship with a salesperson. A lot of us think, oh, you know, they had a family relationship, they're going to leave. It's only 4%. Price, 11%. So you want to think about for yourself too, what are your own choices that you base your loyalty, your customer loyalty on? The product and the dissatisfaction with a product. I was kind of astonished with that because if the product isn't great, wouldn't you take off and go somewhere else? And they're saying no, not necessarily. They keep giving people the benefit of the doubt. Why? Well, this is the big thing. Indifference. Other factors we don't know about, but let's take a look right here. And so the opposite of indifference is what? What would you say?
Caring.
Yeah, caring, engagement, willingness to solve your problem and really roll up your sleeves, right? And when people sense that's present, they will stick around. But when you have 68% of the people saying due to indifference, they take off. The most important thing to notice about this is that this is the greater factor, even if you add all of these up, that will speak volumes. So, anybody have a reflection on that? Is that surprising?
I had 80%, so no, it's not surprising to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So you knew that.
I know that's really important to me.
Yeah, okay. So you were basing it on your own.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's really important that we do that and recognize what speaks to us.
Yeah, I'm willing to pay more for good service.
Exactly. Because, I mean, what's the message that we get from somebody when they're indifferent to us? What gets communicated to us?
For now.
Amber, I was looking down.
I know, they don't care. That's because what I was saying earlier is
Right.
that they just don't care that, you know, and if someone doesn't care about me, why should I bring my business to them?
Right. Right. Thank you. Please turn the page. Page 8. So the importance of satisfied customers. Again, we're drawing a lot of factors here. When people have the capacity to deal with people, when they use some of what we're starting to call the magic mindset, when they have the opposite of indifference, what becomes possible? We have continued relationship with them over time. Think about the cost. Think about the cost of losing a customer and the importance of satisfied customers. What would you say are some of the elements that go towards the cost of getting a customer?
Well, marketing, salespeople,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, if you have negative word of mouth, it goes against you, and people are less likely to come to you. So you have to try harder to get them
Mm-hmm.
in one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Advertising, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yes. So and their statement here, it costs 5 times more to get a customer than to customer. So it's, you know, just be in the relationship, build it over time, and be willing to step in and restore it if it starts to go south, and find out what's happening with people. Make sense so far?
Yes.
Great. So, the impact of poor service. 2006 study by Accenture, which is a management consulting firm. They said that 46% of the people said that poor service caused them to defect from a company, and that 60% gave automated phone services the lowest level of satisfaction among all customer service channels. I honestly can't remember exactly what's interesting about that. What I want to share with you about that is just, I mean, I guess I'd ask you if there was a time when any of you ended up leaving a company behind because they did not give you the kind of service that you were hoping for. Vanilla, you ever had an experience like that?
Yes, with T-Mobile.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I don't like the automated phone service that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always trying to do zero so I can speak with someone.
Exactly.
And they're saying, well, we can help you through our new auto phone system, and you can do everything from here. Then they send you this app on your phone and say that you can, or either you can use the app, and I don't like that at all. I want to speak with someone for them to help me.
Right.
You know.
Good. So you dumped them. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Because of their automated phone system?
Because of their automated phone
That's
system.
interesting.
And it was this app that they put up on the phone that say it can help you over I'm not phone savvy. So I actually need to speak with someone. So that the app, you can ask the questions from off of the app, and they send it to you while you're on the phone calling them. And I can't do all that. Yes, I would rather speak with someone.
Well, it
a
kind
live
of puts
person.
a layer between you and the company, so it feels insulating.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk with someone.
Hmm.
And I know there is a Chinese restaurant that I will never step foot in again. And I was with my son. Was I with my son? No, I was alone, actually. And I went to order lemon chicken, and I went and I was just hungry, alone, on my way home, and ordered this, and then, I had to go up and get it. They didn't bring it to me, and I sat, and I was starting to eat it, and I thought, this is not lemon chicken. Okay? I really wanted lemon chicken that night. But so I waited, nobody came out, so, I brought it back. They wandered around in the back for a long time, and they didn't come out, and then finally they said, they looked at me like, what's your problem? And I said, this is not what I ordered. And they just looked at the food and looked at me, and I said, lemon chicken, I would like lemon chicken. And she says, you eat that food! And normally I might push it back, but she scared me, so I took the dish. So I thought, I am never going back to that Chinese restaurant.
Oh my God.
When was the last time you were told to eat your food when it wasn't what you thought it was? Anyway, people will pay more for, a good experience. And so I go to more expensive Chinese restaurants now. And again, we had to remember we're talking about the human experience. And very simply, I'm just remembering that Catholic hospital, I used to work with these Catholic services hospitals. In hospitals, a lot of the hospitals, they have a rule about not being able to get in if somebody's dying or sick or something. You can't get in the bed. You can't crawl in the bed. But they will consistently make these exceptions at really key moments. And just always going the extra mile and being willing to break the right rules because they know they're having a really human experience. So they won't let a loved one lie next to them. And these are stories that I've heard over and over actually come out of this place of acts of compassion. So Catholic Human Services. Let's talk for a moment about all the different ways that we do have possibilities of creating the kinds of interactions that enhance versus hinder. But first, let's talk about the number of interactions that we do have, and because all they are opportunities. So if you would please just take this moment, and I literally mean a moment, to write down, what are all the numbers in terms of your face-to-face calls, your social networking moments, every single time that you have a chance to interact with people.
I just realized that the numbers I had written down originally actually added up to 205. That's so funny. That I wrote when I was in class.
I
Oh,
gotta play that.
that is amazing. Wow, it turned out the same. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
That is. Oh.
Okay, good. So you just wrote it down and you just thought about how
Must
many
be right.
emails you initiate and all of that, right? Everybody thought about that?
Correct.
Okay, good. So, and as you can see, then it totals up to this on a daily basis. And if that's the truth, then what I want you to do now, multiply by 5 and you'll get the weekly and da-da-da. So it comes out to these numbers. And take a look at this little whopping number. And this is actually just a fairly basic number, but look at that. 49,000 opportunities we have to make what? Impression. Yeah. Make an impression with people. And would we like to make an impression of indifference?
Oh yes, that's my goal.
49,000 times. Anybody here interested in that? What kind of quality of life do you think that we would have if that's what we're
I just go
communicating?
home and shoot myself.
Exactly. Exactly. And so what kinds of qualities are we wanting to? I'm assuming that we're looking for enhancing opportunities. And so how do we do that? How do we use our power of choice, our ability to deal with people? What are the things that we can affect, to put in place so that we can enhance these? Have 49,000 enhancing interactions per year. What are some of the ways that we do that? Well,
Be nice to people.
well, think about this person in the beginning. And what did they have access to? How do we break that down?
Well,
Right? Was she hindering or enhancing?
Or hindering.
Yeah, right? So take a look at some of these and then think through our actions, through our tone, through our attitude, and through our words. It's kind of all we got, isn't it? That's all we got. So why not enjoy it? Why not enhance? So one of the ways to think about this is, if you turn to page 11, looking at in terms of the kind of climate that we create around ourselves. Difference between thermometer and thermostat. Anybody have a sense of the difference between the two?
A thermometer and a thermostat?
Yeah.
Yeah, thermometer measures the temperature and a thermostat sets the temperature.
A thermometer measures, exactly. And a thermostat sets it.
Sets.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's variable, right? The thermostat.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah. So think about for yourself, are you more of a thermometer? Are you more of a thermostat? If a thermometer is about reacting or responding to conditions only, right? Because that's basically what it is. It's just hanging there, and it's just responding to the conditions. Or a thermostat, which is very much about having an impact back on the environment. Think about, just rate yourself, even just like what percentage of your day do you spend in thermometer, and what percentage of your day do you spend in thermostat? And what would you like to do? Would you prefer to be more of a thermometer or more of a thermostat? Who's got a comment about that? Any insights?
Well, that feels like a rhetorical question.
Well, okay, go
Because-
ahead. Yeah.
Because why would anyone want to be reactive? I mean, you're asking which we would prefer to be.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, thinking about the difference between what percentage we spend now as a thermometer versus a thermostat. How much are we just responding to our environment versus how much we actually feel like we can affect it and actually change the climate in the situation, change the environment. And so what is it now and what would we like it to be?
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm asking for an honest assessment of ourselves currently, and then I'm asking, what would we aspire to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm looking for a little insight around that if you have it for yourself.
Well, I know for myself, I would always want to be more able to deal with the situation and feel like I was in, obviously being a control freak, I want to be in control of temperature as well. I don't want to be
Exactly.
reacting to it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want my triggers to get pushed by people.
Right.
I want to be able to be above that,
Right.
so.
Yes,
yeah.
you and me both. And a lot of times we just do need to be there and just respond. And it's a question of what? How we respond.
Uh-huh.
And then that actually can back us into this experience of being more of a thermostat, right? Because we can actually change the climate. We're still may get the same stuff coming at us, right? So respond, but then we can actually change the climate a little bit. So nice, thank you. And then for now, do you have an insight about that?
And I agree with Amber.
Yeah.
I want to be in control. I want to be able to control situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about how much we actually do control. Let's talk about how much of the situations that we're in do we actually have control over. Because there's plenty that we don't have control over. And are we gonna let that ruin our day, our month, our year? Sometimes, yes, I do. I don't know about you. I'm quite imperfect. But let's assume that we do have some choice in the matter and that there are some things that are out of our direct control. Yeah, would you say that's true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, naming some of the things that you do not have direct control over.
We don't have control over time.
Yep, good.
Government,
Yep, okay, good. Any other things to add here?
prices.
Okay, crisis, yeah. Alright, great. And,
Other people, yeah.
mhm.
Laws.
What's
Like I
that?
don't have any control over laws.
Right.
Oh, company policies. I don't have any control over company policies.
Mm-hmm. And how does it make you feel sometimes when you experience yourself, let's say, that you're not in control of government policies? What's the impact on you?
Oh, sometimes I get frustrated.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
And how would you define frustration?
It's sort of, I feel sort of helpless
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when I got steam coming out my ears.
Okay, good, all right, great, I'm sure that's quite a sight. All right, good. And prices and government and things that we feel like we can't necessarily control.
Uh-huh.
What can we directly control? What do you know that we can control? We've talked about some of the things today.
Words.
Our word choices,
Uh-huh.
yeah?
We already have tone. We talked about tone. We can control our attitudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. So let's put this word right here in the middle, called me, and that would be you and me. And let's think about the fact that these things from the outside, isn't it true that they can press in on us? Even though we're not in direct control of them, we still are somewhat at the effect of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hence, a bit of the thermometer, right? So it's okay. We all spend a certain amount of our time as thermometers. And what can happen, I don't know about you, but my temperature goes up sometimes. I get a little feverish when I notice all this happening. And when the government is when the government shuts down, right? And we have all government contracts we're working with, or the printers, and I can't work it out, and I've got a deadline, and that kind of thing. And then the question is, what happens to us? And one of the definitions that they gave for frustration was to cause to bring no effect. And so just getting stalled out, stilted completely. And so it's a frustration. So what do we have? And as author Hugh Prather said, I feel what I feel, but I can choose to do, I can't choose what I feel, but I can choose what I do with my feelings and how I respond. And that's what we're talking about, is what's within our capability, what's the place from in me that I can choose to respond. And so, ta-da! If you turn to page 14, actually look at page 13 for a moment, and let's just read this. Your life is the sum of all the choices you make, both consciously and unconsciously. If you can control the process of choosing, you can take control of all aspects of your life. You can find the freedom that comes from being in charge of yourself. And it's our choices that show what we truly are far more than our abilities. Our choices far more than our abilities. So we may not always be great at all these things, but what choices are we making? And can we make a choice that either builds or enhances or restores relationship? And this is what we're looking at, is, what is what they call our locus of control. And if you think about the place in you that does have the capacity to make the choice, to respond, to reset the thermostat based on, stuff is going to come at us. And if you think about what are the titles of a lot of books we're seeing out there these days, like the Dalai Lama and Pema Chodron and who else is writing? So like Choosing Peace, Thich Nhat Hanh, when things fall apart, or when bad things happen to good people. There's so many books out there now. How many of us are interested in trying to figure out exactly, what is this place that I can stand in, that I can have a more consistent, appropriate response for the situations that keep confronting me on a daily basis. And as customer service folks, this is so much what action we're being called to. But not just a few times a day, over and over and over. And then we gotta get up and do it the next morning. And how do we be in the art of keeping it fresh? So, are you ready to give it a try and do some practice together?
Mm-hmm.
And see if any of this I've been talking about actually makes sense. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good.
Okay, so that was, that's interesting. It's an hour and 4 minutes.
Okay.